Hi guys, it's Danny. Alrighty, sad video today, but hopefully useful. I have two orchids that sadly will kick the bucket, or they already have. But let's try to make the best out of things and figure out why they died. And this is a sort of an update for the ICU. But anyway, first of all, this Cattleya orchid. I featured it in another video discussion. If you didn't see it, you might have missed it. I'll tell you a little bit about this one. So this is a division that I got from Ana Maria, and it declined without any apparent reason all of a sudden. Turns out it did have a reason. When she purchased this orchid, there was a sort... Oops, I'm killing stuff. Sorry about that. So, when she purchased this orchid, there was a sort of a clip or something, or a stake that was cutting through the rhizome. I'll show you some pictures on the screen, and the fact is that her division is infected as well. It's on the verge of death. I think she only has one pseudobulb left, and I really hope she saves it. But apparently there was an internal infection with this orchid that affected the rhizome, and because it was the rhizome that communicates with all pseudobulbs, everybody was infected. Even though it was invisible at the time, it didn't mean it wasn't there. So I bet this is a sort of a bacterial infection of some sorts. I cannot pinpoint the exact, let's say, pathogen that caused it. I'm not a scientist. But this is the result. It happened really fast and out of the blue, but that was the explanation for things. It was just a rhizome that had an open wound and it got infected. Whenever you have an orchid with an open wound, it is best to keep it as dry as possible. You can also apply a little bit of cinnamon to keep things dry, but if you water that cut wound before it actually gets healed, it can reinfect. It's an open door for pathogens, really, and sometimes you cannot see these open wounds. They can be micro wounds and stuff like that. I did have another viewer that told me she got some rotten pseudobulbs on a Cattleya just because she sprayed it lightly. So yeah, it was not the spraying, it was just a micro wound. And this is what happened with this orchid as well. And as you can see, stuff are turning really blackish. Not a good sign at all. So yeah, this orchid unfortunately died. This is the BLC and Cleo, which is a very vigorous hybrid as far as I know. So yeah, the fact that it got so sick is really sad and surprising, but there you go. Any orchid can be affected no matter how vigorous it is. And as a general rule, whenever you order orchids and you see stakes or clips or whatever cutting through rhizomes and pseudobulbs and leaves, be careful. Try to disinfect the wound with hydrogen peroxide. If you do the hydrogen peroxide thing way too late, it's not going to work. It's just a surface disinfectant, nothing more really. It's not going to enter the orchid and heal it in any way, but it's a surface wound. Also, if you have an open wound on your orchid, just put a little bit of cinnamon directly on the wound. This is not a miracle solution, it just helps with drying faster. And if tissue is dry, it cannot get infected. If it's open and moist, it can get infected because bacteria travel really well through liquids. Alrighty, and this is the second orchid that will die. This is the Onccidium Twinkle. I am absolutely gutted for this guy because I love the twinkles and I was planning to get some more twinkles, and this was an orange twinkle. Anyway, let's leave that for another time. I will mourn on my own. This guy had a bad history as well. It had two pseudobulbs when I got it. One got sick and I cut the rhizome and the rhizome was sick as well. I didn't think this would be sick because it looked good. It started to produce a new growth and the new growth started to produce roots, and I was really hopeful, but all of a sudden things went bad. Now with this one, now I'm not sure if it's a proper infection. However, it might be the treatment that I gave. You remember I told you that I kept it in a sort of a glass with sphagnum moss and a lid on top to help with humidity, and I was telling you that, yeah, I was telling you that this is a mold bomb, and it really is. You need to be careful with that. I only use stuff like this as an ultimate resort. I don't usually do this. Everything that I have is very ventilated. Yeah, it can help if you're just careful. However, I think this orchid was a little bit too fragile for this, and I do believe I have some rotting due to the treatment that I performed. I'll give you a close-up. You can see the base of the pseudobulb. You can see the mold right here. So I'm not sure if this is a combination of an infection or it's just due to the molding and lack of a ventilation. Lack of ventilation is one of the causes because it's totally visible. I don't know if there was anything else on top really. But anyway, with sick orchids, you kind of need to know they're a lot more fragile than healthy orchids. So stuff that normally would not affect a healthy orchid will definitely affect or might affect a sick orchid. So extra humidity, as helpful as it is, needs to be associated with ventilation, because there is a chance you can actually kill an orchid like this. I, however, considered I didn't have any other choice for the moment for my possibilities. Of course, I could have done better things, obviously. However, that was the solution I found at the time. It helped a bit, but in the end, it was not good. So let's learn from this mistake. Mold bombs, as I call them, are not okay and are to be avoided unless you have no other choice. And by mold bomb, I refer to sphagnum and bag. Yes, I said it. I've never had good results with that because there's a high chance a mold outbreak can come at any time if you're not careful, or if your orchid is fragile, is sick, and most of the orchids that go into this sphagnum bag think they're sick. Keep in mind, they are a lot more fragile and stuff will go terribly bad if the stars align. I'm not saying that it will not work to some extent. This is what I tried. It worked with the other Cattleya, which is out of things. I'm going to show you in the other ICU. So it works, but it has a high chance of failure. So whenever you have a sick orchid, if you can, try to provide moisture and ventilation at the same time. Don't do something like this unless you absolutely need to, because you don't have the possibility at the moment and stuff like that. But yeah, because this is very, very dangerous. It takes all the time, and when the counter is done, boom, and that's that. Anyway, so these were the 2 orchids that I've lost in the ICU. I tried to figure out each time whenever an orchid dies why it died, even though it might have been my mistake or not. I do like to find out the reasons because it will teach me something for the future. And pretty much that's how we learn. Bad experiences really tend to stick with us. So if you have a bad experience with an orchid, don't get discouraged. Learn from it, and you'll know next time what to do, what to avoid, and what to expect. Why not? So thank you for watching this video. If you'd like to see more videos from me and stay up to date with the move and everything, simply subscribe to my channel. I post on a regular basis. Also, feel free to leave me comments or suggestions or whatever you want to tell me regarding orchids in the comment section below, and I'll get back to you. If you click on the left side of your screen, you'll be directed to orchidnature.com, where you'll find care sheets, identification sheets, and also you can talk to us in the forum section. And on the right side of your screen, you can click to watch another orchid video. Thank you for joining. I'll see you next time. Bye!